Hey everybody, it's that time of the time again. We're doing the listens of the month for February. Uh, Same as usual, gonna try to get through this as much as I can. Talk about what I've listened to, albums from front to back over the span of February, and not much else to it. I like music. All right, so I'm a little bit sick, so if I'm snorting up a storm, I'll try to edit what I can. But we're going to get through this as uh, efficiently as possible. So, without further ado, let's start off the month with Devin Townsend's Lightwork. Now, I add this here because I forgot to add this to the list of albums I listened to in January. And yeah, I mean, I've touched on it before. It's his newest work, and it's pretty solid. Like, honestly, it's a great batch of songs from front to back. And I really enjoy listening to it. It's really nice and pleasant. Love Celestial Signals. Love Vacation. Like, I go back to that one, like, pretty often. Call the Void is still my favorite song off the album. Just real good stuff. Then, Psychostick. Do. Their latest, actual studio release. They have And Stuff, which is a collection, but this is great. This is a great album from them. A lot of the humor really shines here. We Are a Band, just to kick it off. Tons of great songs, such as like the title track, You Can Maybe Do It, Moving Day, Bacon Egg Cheese on Sriracha, Thinking with Your D. It's Psychostick. You know what you're getting. A ton of laughs every single time. And heavy stuff too, like Stream Stutter. Really funny skits too. Yeah, just check it out. Then we have Clowncore and their album Van. Yeah, just a really whimsical, very odd, sample-filled little electronic album, I guess you could say. Some extreme elements here and there. Like I think there's like blast beats in one of the songs. Don't remember too much from it, but it's definitely a quirky one for sure. It's pretty unique, I guess you could say. After that, we got Power Trip and Manifest Decimation. These guys go so hard. I listened to this album more than once. I strongly recommend this one. This is crossover thrash done so brilliantly. It's caked in reverb, which does kind of drown out the vocals a bit on this one, but just the riffs, just the straightforward aggression and just driving beats and just it's so great. I love Hammer of Doubt to death. That song goes so hard from front to back, just so consistently. The title track and Heretic's Fork, Drown, just some other absolute bangers. Production is really reminiscent of that, of like Megadeth's So Far So Good So What, and I kind of like really appreciate that. It gives it that like 80s feel. So yeah, this is a must listen for thrash fans. And I came across this one a little by accident. I guess these guys are like a really, really, really small band out from like, I guess, North Carolina or something like that. Sermon of Mockery and their EP Crippler Crossface Murder Suicide. Production's really rough. This is demo quality, but it's just straight up pummeling, slammy, like old school death metal. Real brutal stuff. Nothing too special, but for what it is, it's not bad. And we have the EP from Dying Fetus, Grotesque Impalement. Yeah, this thing is just god tier, honestly. Landmark and like slammy tech death, riffs for days, proficiency for days. Absolutely love this one. I need to start. I mean, I've been following these guys for years and years and years, but I want to revisit their entire catalog. And I noticed that Grotesque Impalement is something like as an EP, it's not one that I've actually like visited, very often at all. I've probably only heard it once before this. Same thing with History Repeats. I think is another EP of theirs, so I'll probably give that one a listen to pretty soon. Then I had to give a good old re-listen to Nails and their second album, Abandon All Life. Relentless brutality, grindcore D-beat for days, power violence. I really words can't like describe how just heavy and just pummeling this album is. The production is just abrasive, loud. The guitars are just that loud, bassy buzzsaw. I mean, there's a reason why I love revisiting this album. Yeah, so strongly recommend. And after that, Zakk Wylde's Black Label Society. It's just Black Label Society. His name was just on these early releases to promote it. This was a live album that was put out after their second release, Stronger Than Death, called Alcohol Fueled Brutality, and it's great. It really captures like a really energetic, just berserk in time. Whiskey and chunky riffs and pentatonic, scales and whatnot. Crazy ass solos and just a headbanging good time. Really love this live album, honestly. Lots of great tracks are on this thing. It's even got, I think, a couple covers on it at the end because of the +5. Or covers as well. One of them which being Snowblind by Black Sabbath, and I love the version of Snowblind on this. But yeah, then the live rendition of No More Tears is great as well. Just a real fun release overall. Then I gave the Greatest Hits Collection release compilation thing from Sting, Fields of Gold. I guess at this time I was just kind of like craving, like nostalgia, I guess. I grew up listening to this because my mom and dad had this album, and every now and then they throw it in the CD player. And I really enjoy it. It's got a lot of great songs on here. If You Love Someone, Set Them Free. If I Ever Lose My Faith in You. Obviously the title track. When We Dance. It's gorgeous stuff. Fragile, another gorgeous song. Englishman in New York. Yeah, just a really, really great compilation. Then we have the second release from Amigo the Devil, Everything Is Fine. I didn't really get as much from this one as the first release, Volume 1, but there's still plenty of good songs on here. I love going back to If I'm Crazy, like pretty often, honestly. I don't think the remake of Hell and You was very necessary, but regardless, I look forward to listening to his album after this one. Then I gave a re-listen to Thy Art Is Murder in their first full-length studio album, The Adversary. Very much overlooked and kind of unfairly ignored. I was going to go see them on their Hate reunion, well, not reunion, their Hate anniversary tour, because I love that album, and I've always wanted to see a lot of those songs played live, like Gates of Misery and Infinite Forms. But I was hoping they'd go back a bit further and like maybe pick a couple from this, like the title track, or Soldiers of Immortality, or Engineering the Antichrist, or hell, The False Prophet, or Furnace of Hate, Flesh Oracle. This is a really just wild album. Like the riffs are super fast, the drumming is just hyper aggressive, really technical. Really underrated album in my opinion. It is a little bit one note, and the songs do kind of blend into one another, but it's just crazy good, honestly. After that, gave a re-listen to the self-titled EP from Chelsea Grin. I'm going to be going through their discography again. And this is a classic. Absolutely just slow-burning bangers, super heavy. Obviously, you got Kruka Banger, Shine Stokes, I can never pronounce that right. Lifeless, and the early version of Recreant. Brutal stuff. Then we have Carnival's EP Persona. This is one they put out before their, a few years before their first studio full-length album. At some point I'm going to be rating this entire discography, which is kind of the purpose of revisiting it, which I'm going to do again. And it's really good, honestly. Fade is a great song. Some more of the same. Like there's some really neat ideas on here. It's not fully fleshed out, but there's some heavy moments for sure. Then, after years and years of putting it off and just never getting around to it, I finally gave Legend of the Seagull Men a listen. This is a little side project of Brent Hines of Mastodon fame and Danny Carey of Tool fame with a couple other guys. I thought it was a decent album, but I feel like they didn't really capture what they were going for all that well. I wasn't as engaged. I mean, the songs were okay. The musicianship was okay. The vibe seemed right. Like it had a whole bunch. It has a whole bunch of potential for sure. Overall, it was just okay. Honestly, if all these musicians come together again, because I think there's 3 guitarists in this band, if they all come together again and put something with a lot more boldness to it, like a more focused effort, I think they can put together a really, really good album. Then we got Vitriol with To Bathe from the Throat of Cowardice. And this is when I was just looking through Facebook groups and seeing people's suggestions for just straight up heavy brutality, just some of the heaviest stuff ever. And these guys are a brutal death metal band, and this album puts that on full display. I really, really got a lot out of this album. Just really relentless stuff, honestly. It's definitely what I was looking for when it came to just brutal death metal. Then another form of heavy, Crowbar and Sonic Excess in its purest form. This really all started with the song To Build a Mountain, which has one of the heaviest riffs just ever freaking written. and that started me on like a full-on path of getting through these guys' discography. And it's just heavy riff after heavy riff. The lasting dose, repulsive in its splendid beauty, suffering brings wisdom, awakening. Just lots of great moments here, and well polished, great guitar tones and everything. Then we have Chevelle and the album Hats Off to the Bull. Not too big on this album compared to their others, but it is one of their most commercially successful because of the title track and Face to the Floor, which are both really good songs. I also really like Pinata and Same Old Trip. The Meddler was a song that really surprised me. I'm going back to that one a lot. Love that song. But overall, not as good as some of their other releases. Then we have Devin Townsend Band, Synkestra. Strongly recommend this one. This is a very, very cohesive, focused effort from front to back. While I'm not too big on, maybe Baby Song, and there are some parts, like on certain tracks, that drag just a little bit, this is a fantastic album, honestly. I go back and forth to, on whether or not I like this or Accelerate Evolution more. I do feel like this is, overall a better album in some senses. I love Judgment and the way that goes into Simple Lullaby. Pixelate is a great track. Gaia is a catchy track. Obviously, Vampira absolutely rocks. Just great album overall. All right, so first new In Flames album since 2020, Foregone. And this one really surprised me. It is definitely a huge step up from their last few albums by a long shot. This is definitely up there with, dare I say, Come Clarity, Reroute to Remain. It falls short just a little bit, but it is definitely in the vein of those albums. But there are definitely some really brutal melodic death metal moments on this album. I'm actually really refreshed to hear them incorporating these sounds into the band again. I think they did that. I think they did a really good job on this album. I really was loving a lot of what I was hearing just throughout this album. Yeah, sure, there's still elements of their newer sound, but not too much to where I was completely disengaged. I very much enjoyed this. So yeah, then we got Skrillex and the EP Bangarang. I just felt like revisiting some some Skrillex. It's a really solid EP. Take me back to 2012, 2013. I love Kyoto. I'll never forget when I was maybe I had to have been 17, and this EP was brand new. Driving home with the youth pastor, I guess, and some other kid. I guess his name was Chance or something. Just so I can get a ride home because I walked there from after I got home from school, and just hearing just blasting Kyoto in the car, and then Cyrus part comes in and it's got F slurs and stuff in it, and I'll never forget the youth pastor's going whoa, and then turning it down, and the other kid's like, oh, that's just all nervous. Oh, that's not Skrillex. But yeah, just real nostalgia is what this EP does for me, and every song is great too. Then Chevelle with La Gargola. A huge step up from Hats Off to the Bull, in my opinion. A lot more experimental. Just some really killer songs on here. Take Out the Gunman, An Island, Hunter Eats Hunter. It is a little long-winded. Pretty much every song on here is 5 minutes or more. But it's definitely a bold album for them, which is welcomed, honestly. It's good. It's really good. After that, we got Pussifer with V is for Versatile. This is them doing live renditions of various V is for Vagina songs and various C is for insert sophomore whatever here, the EP, and it's okay. They call these the versatile mixes. I'm not too big on these versions of these songs, which have already mostly been remixed to death anyway, multiple times. At least as far as I remember. But yeah, it's not that most of them are bad either. I would have loved to hear Drunk with Power get redone, because that's maybe my favorite song off of V is for Vagina. But yeah, it wasn't a bad listen, for sure. Then we have Soulfly with Prophecy. This is a really good one. Lots of really heavy songs, very riffy. Title track is great, obviously. This had a lot of energy to it. It was also really nice to hear them cover In the Meantime, because that's got some heavy riffs. It's one of my favorite Helmet songs. Then we got I.O. with Anyone Anywhere. Strongly recommend this one. This is a post rock outfit. They've only released 2 albums. This is their second release, and it's so quaint and calming and just so nice. Like, this is to just, sleep to, chill out to, make love to, I guess you could say. I listened to this one more than once in February, and 60 South is probably my favorite song on here, definitely. Absolutely love the melodies. It's all instrumental. Route 89 is another one. CBMA is another good one. Like, the way they incorporate, I don't think it's saxophone. It might be trumpet. It is just a really, really nice touch in the song. And of course, like a highlight of the album, which I believe is their biggest song, I guess you could say, biggest. And I love this title. Like, honestly, the title of this track. To everyone I could have loved, and to all the places we could have called home. That's the song title. Just really beautiful stuff. After that, we got Nine Inch Nails, Ghost 6, Locusts. Yeah, lots of just creepy, dark ambient pieces. I mean, not so much creepy as like slightly unsettling, but like engaging at the same time. I do like this better than Ghost 5, but it's just a lot of spacey, soundscapes. Not too much structure to these, but yeah, not much to say about it. And then we have Nightwork, which is basically like the other half of Lightwork. From Devin Townsend. It's not nearly as good as Lightwork, not nearly as engaging. It starts off with like some just really brutal, like intense stuff that's on a level of like deconstruction, and then it tampers off, and like there's not too much focus on for the rest of the album, but they're still good songs. Starchasm Part 2 and Sober are a couple of standouts for me. But yeah. Then we have Halsey with If I Can't Have Love, I Want Power. And for a minute, like, I've been meaning to listen to this album because it happens to be produced by Nine Inch Nails. Both Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross had a big role in producing this album for Halsey. Also, I have a friend who I've been going up and clubbing with in Sacramento, and she is a huge Halsey fan. So I figured, okay, I mean, if anything, like, I mean, I've heard some of the songs that she showed me. Let's give this album a listen. And it's really good, honestly. There quite a few songs I really liked. The Tradition, Lilith, Girl is a Gun, even Bells in Santa Fe. Like, there's a lot of like really neat sounds that she actually she writes to them really well, I guess you could say. Whispers is another one. I'm Not a Woman, I'm a God. But yeah, not bad stuff, honestly. After that, even more Devin Townsend. I was on a kick of that all month. His album Infinity, his second solo album. And the production needs a lot of work, but honestly, I really enjoy revisiting this album. Truth, into Christine, into Bad Devil, which is probably the best song here, into War, into Soul Driven Cadillac. I love Soul Driven Cadillac. Into Ants. It's just really, really like good album in terms of flow from beginning to end. The epic that is Unity, and then I guess the album closer, Noisy Pink Bubbles, is my favorite. I go back to that one so often. There's just something about it that's just so satisfying. It's hard to explain. Then I decided to give this band a chance and check them out. Alpha Wolf and their first EP, Origin. Really, really heavy metalcore, like some real pummeling stuff. I did like what I was hearing. I mean, this is like the very beginnings of the band, so they've only improved from here. So I'm excited to see what else they got in store. And speaking of metalcore, I gave a re-listen to Color Decay, and I do like this album a lot. Not nearly as much as The Act or some of their earlier work, but there's still a lot of good stuff here. I love Sacrifice, love Time, and Watchtower. Cancer is a great song as well. Really good stuff. Need to listen to it again, that's for sure. We got Skrillex. Skrillex dropped a new album this month. Well, actually, he dropped 2. Spoiler alert, we'll get there. Quest for Fire is this one. And this has a lot of really exciting, just clubby, awesome electronic tracks. Not too much, bro step here, which is fine by me. Like, a lot of stuff is dated at this point, but like real trap heavy stuff on here. Lots of good stuff, and I can't wait to revisit it. Then I gave a listen to these 2 EPs. Baroness with First and Second. First, I think, is the overall better EP. Love Tower Falls, great track. Red Sky is another good one. Yeah, real interesting jumping off point for the band as a whole. And there's definitely better things to come, that's for sure. And some more sludge here. We got Call of the Mastodon. I technically consider this the first Mastodon release because these are all songs that were made before Remission in 2002. And yeah, it's really rough, but a lot of those elements for Mastodon are here. Like clear as day on Shadows That Move and Deep Sea Creature. I think my favorite track here has to be We Built This Come Death. Like really like inexplainable riffs. This is just a brutal album, but it's definitely my least favorite from them. Then we have Spirit Box on the EP Rotoscope. It's all right. It's it's just a little short 3-song EP. Each track is good, honestly. Some heavy moments. Rotoscope's a bit clubby, I guess you could say. Can't wait for new music from them. Then we got Mac Miller, Live from Space. Really interesting live album. I listened to this more than once in February just to dissect it. And I saw a review for it that was like, well, I mean, this doesn't really make too much sense because these songs are like brand new and you're already doing like different interpretations of them. Well, at least new for the time. This is 2013. I kind of agree with that. Even though the performances are great, like he's just going all out on the Star Room and Killing Time. And it's neat that he brought out Objects in the Mirror and The Question, which are great tracks. The version of Euphoria is pretty touching as well. I mean, he's not the best singer. But what I really like about this is that there's 5 original tracks at the end of it, and they're all pretty solid. I think my favorite though has to be Black Bush. Like just the beat, he just fits it so well. The rhymes, it's a bit of a short song, but yeah, Black Bush is probably favorite from those original 5. But yeah, really wish I could have gotten to see him. Then we have Unearth with Watchers of Rule. This one's just like a really straightforward, just pummeling, just chunky, riff-heavy, chugga-lugga release from them, I guess you could say. Because Darkness in the Light, like, really, piqued my interest again for these guys, because that album just slaps. And this one's really heavy. This one's really brutal. Heavy and brutal. And but the thing about this one, songwriting doesn't really hold up as much. There's not as many memorable moments. It's just straight up, a slugfest, but it's not bad at all. Then Exodus and their album Impact is Imminent. Really, really love the guitar tone on this. Like right off the bat, the intro track, which is the title track. It's a song against drinking and driving, which is yeah. Very, very riff heavy, very, very thrashy. This album is just chock full of great riffs. Once again, the guitar tone is just shredding, just killer. Absolutely, really got a kick out of this one, that's for sure. Then we went back to Meshuggah's very first album, Contradictions Collapse. And this one's really, really rough. The production's not really up to snuff, but this really isn't a bad album at all. It's just not too memorable, and re-listening to it is just a reminder of that. But with that being said, there are some really killer tracks with like some pockets and some moments and segments that are easily some of the like just heaviest and just grooviest moments that Meshuggah's ever written. Like Erroneous Manipulation, Abnegating Cicity, Qualms of Reality, Cadaverous Mastication, and the Unsettling Choirs of Devastation. And of course, the cover art's a total nightmare. Like, this is the outcome, like, of Contradictions Collapsing. The original title of this album was actually going to be All of This Because of Greed. And Meshuggah has always been extremely woke. Let's just say that, as much as I hate that word and how it's been hijacked these days. After that, we got Anthrax with City Euphoria. And while there's a couple like good songs, this album really didn't do much for me at all, honestly. Not nearly as good as their first 3 albums. Some tracks on here are just way too long and not as engaging. There's some cool riffs here and there, but I didn't get much from it. It was a first time listen for me, but yeah, I didn't get much from it. After that, I listened to a little soundtrack conducted by Joel McNeely, who I think could easily fill in for John Williams if it came down to it, because this is the original soundtrack for Shadows of the Empire. So there's a Nintendo 64 game of the same name, which was based on a book of the same name, which took place between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. And just the compositions here are great. The Nintendo 64 version has only like some cut out versions of some of the like a couple of the songs here, and that was it. But like everything else is just really good. It definitely more so was made for the book, I would say, more than anything. But I would absolutely love to see like a series based on like just this story, and hopefully said series adopts this soundtrack. All right, look at this, another new album from Skrillex. So he releases 2 albums within a week of each other. like his first full length solo album. Hi, baby. It's my kitty, Mrs. Spinell. She's my sweetheart. You might have seen her in my Toriel video. Hi, baby. But yeah, his first like full studio releases in 9 years, and this one's not that good. I didn't get too much from it. It sounded like just polished, like mall shop trap pop, like real happy, upbeat, generic, formulaic pop drivel. At least the cover art's pretty cute, though. I like it. Yeah, but overall, I do not recommend this one. Speaking of Accelerated Evolution, my brother had put this on while I was making dinner, so I got to hear this whole thing. Actually, no. No, it was Synkestra, the album that we were talking about before. The other Devin Townsend band album. Synkestra was put on while I was making dinner. Yeah, like I said before, I go back and forth on whether or not I like this one more or that one more. But overall, I think I do like this one more. But if this album didn't have the song Away, it'd be Synkestra all day. Like, Away holds so much weight for this album. But lots of good tracks. Random Analysis, Storm, Deadhead, even though the live version is better. Suicide, Sunday Afternoon. Real good stuff. Strongly recommend. Next up, we have the second album from Blonde Redhead, La Mia Vita Violenta. And this is a really good album. I honestly loved listening to this. UFO is a standout track for me, for sure. I'm Taking Out My Eurotrash is another great song. I just really love how creative these guys are with their sound, and can't wait to get to their next album. We have the EP from Job Before Cowboy, Gloom, and it's okay. Just 4 pretty solid death metal songs. Nothing really too stand out for them, I guess. Just really, really reflective of this era for them. Didn't get too much from it. Then we have this absolute monstrosity of an album, the Acacia Strain with Coma Witch. Just endless, slow, sludgy, hardcore riffage throughout this entire thing. It just absolutely just clobbers you. I'm really excited to see these guys in a couple weeks. Just, damn, the 27-minute monster at the end, Observer, is just, wow. This whole album does a number on you, but my god, is it heavy. Then, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, Palms, one morning, when I woke up, announced on their social media, hey, here's 2 unreleased tracks, and I have not felt such joy in a long time. Yeah, so this is their, this is the cover art for the 2-song single, I guess you could say, opening titles / end credits, and it is so damn good. Strongly recommend, obviously. Listen to it on the way to work, and yeah, when opening titles really kicks in, and I wasn't even expecting, I was half expecting Chino to not even be part of the songs, but yeah, his vocals kicked in, and I was just elated. I was just pure bliss. I love Palms. I love Palms to death. I love Chino. Basically anything Chino touches. Hopefully this means more new music in the future, because yeah, I was just so happy to hear these. Obviously I listened to this multiple times in February. And after that we got what I would argue is the weakest Black Dahlia Murder album, Abysmal. Killer cover art for sure. But I don't know. I didn't get too much from this album. The title track's good, and Receipt's a killer track. Some okay songs here and there, but overall, wasn't too crazy about it. Then we got Sleep Token in their EP 2, and this had a few brooding, grueling, epic songs on it. Really gets you a little bit more familiarized with their early sound and what they later go on to do. I find it very intriguing. This is a really good EP. Really long songs, but interested to see how their sound develops even further, because damn, their new songs are amazing. Then I had Need for Speed Carbon songs stuck in my head, and I decided to give the original score for it a listen, like the menu music, not the soundtrack, not the third party songs that they asked permission for to put on here. No, the original music for the game by Extract. This really neat little electronic bangers, like breakbeat and somewhat kind of jungly, sort of kind of somewhat housey and techy. Induction Kit's a great track. Belt's a good track. Yeah, my brother is actually replaying through it right now, and he says it like it's such a short game. I completed it in like 3 days. After that, we have Pelican with "The Fire in Our Throats Will Beckon the Thaw," and like Pelican's really good background music, in my opinion. I didn't really get too much from this album, like admittedly. It's okay. I like the post elements, the sludgy elements, but couldn't really tell you too much other than that. Then I gave a re-listen to the EP from Isis, Signal 5, which came out after Celestial. And it's okay. It's just like some extra tracks. It's like a little like encore epilogue somewhat of the Celestial album. Tower Crumbles is a good song. Other than that, nothing too special, I guess you could say. Then Ison, Andromeda Skyline. You already know. It's fantastic, honestly. Portals and Nebula. I've talked enough about this album, honestly. It's really good. Strongly recommend. And Gorillaz, finally, geez, after all this time, finally put out Cracker Island. And then, not long after, they put out a deluxe version, so I'm going to have to listen to that too. But yeah, I listened to the original version, 10 songs, and it's good. It's a little underwhelming. I didn't get too much from it, but there are pretty solid songs on here. It kind of reminds me of the Now Now, so it's not as bold as like Song Machine, but it's still a good album. It's got some good tracks. Cracker Island, Skinny Ape, New Gold. Yeah, I need to give it a real listen, that's for sure, especially since the deluxe version is out. Then we have Flogging Molly with Life is Good. Compared to Speed of Darkness, which was the album before this one, I really enjoyed this one. I got way more out of this one than that one. Really enjoyable. Lots of great songs. The Hand of John L. Sullivan, Crushed Hostile Nations. Yeah, this one's just a lot more enjoyable than Speed of Darkness, like in pretty much every way. And I was pretty surprised by that. Yeah, it's a really solid album, honestly. Yeah, moving on from there. Power Trip, Nightmare Logic. I would consider this on par with Manifest Decimation, honestly. A bit more polished in the production department. The songs are just crushing, really solid. Title track is one of my favorites, Crucifixation. If Not Us, Then Who? Rest in peace to Riley Gale. I listened to this album more than once in February. Very, very thrashy. Pretty much a must listen for crossover thrash fans. And this was a new EP released this month. A little live album put out by Ecstasy called Ecstasy on Audio Tree Live. I guess Audio Tree is like a series thing. And yeah, he just performs a lot of his songs from both of his newest EPs, I guess you could say, and they sound really good. I love his work, and yeah, really enjoyable little like live mini EP thing, I guess you could say. Real indie, like Brit rock, shoegazy sort of kind of, like soft punky, I guess you could say. Really hard to say. Check it out. Then we have this. We have Oceana, Birth Eater. For years and years and years, I've avoided this album, whereas I really loved The Tide, their first album, and I didn't really know what to expect. I thought it was just going to be like some preachy stuff. I'm sure that's well within the lyrics about abortion. But honestly, like this album kind of surprised me. I mean, sure, the production is very thin. There's a lot of high end. It's kind of buzzy. It's not the best. But there are some really heavy songs on here, like real heavy, pummeling, metalcore type songs on here. The more sappy moments aren't too good, but I've listened to The Family Disease enough to where like I actually do kind of really like that song. And a lot of the tracks here are actually really well written. I put it off for years, and the payoff is actually pretty nice. It's not a bad album. Then we got this, Primitive Man. I guess you could call it self-titled, P//M. And yeah, these guys, my God, just really, really slow, drony, sludgy, just doomy stuff. There's only a few like actual songs on here. One of them of which is a cover of Sweet Leaf by Black Sabbath, and it's just slow it down and make it all demented. It's crazy. Yeah, they also cover Suffering Brings Wisdom by Crowbar, and yeah, just absolute heaviness. But the majority of this album is just these dark, creepy, just noiseescapes that just sound like the elements, the environment. It's just so sinister sounding. You can't really make out like what you're hearing. Like it almost feels like you are primitive. Like it like imagining what primitive man must have been like I guess sounded like in nature. You know, it has that factor, that quality of it. It's really something. Yeah, really noisy stuff. It's definitely something to behold. They also have a 17-minute long song called "Come." Anyway, moving on. Crosses, their EP Permanent Radiant, gave it another re-listen because, of course, it's Chino, and I love Chino, and I love this EP. Honestly, day one is just so bouncy and like just uplifting. Love it. Sensation, so sultry and sexy. Vivian is a great solid rocker. Yeah, really good stuff. Honestly, I wish we could have gotten more. Hopefully they tour soon. That'd be awesome. Then, kind of a sad one. The almighty Ruskaya and their latest album and their last album ever, Turbo Polka Party. I saw these guys open up for Flogging Molly a year ago, and they put on such an amazing show. Like they were so choreographed and coordinated, and just put on such an amazing performance. It's just really, really, really sad to see them hang it up because of the harassment and discrimination they're receiving, because they're basically like a celebration of Russian culture, and they also kind of poke fun at it. But like it's more than that. Like I mean, hell, this album has various songs in it that are sung in 4 different languages. Like I counted English, Russian, German, and Spanish. It's a unifying band. It's a unifying album. There are great songs on this thing. Ruski Style is a killer track. I mean, hell, the opening song "No Borders" says a whole lot. I mean, when I saw them, like the Ukraine-Russia war was only a month in, and like their bass player, I believe it was, is Ukrainian, while the frontman's Russian, and they stood shoulder to shoulder, like arm in arm, like we condemn this war. So it's just really sad to see such a talented and exciting act go. You know, their violinist, I believe Leah Sophie, was really upset about this and posted all about it on her social media, and I even like shared a story of hers, and she reached out to me, and just super sad. Like it's a really sad thing, honestly. I was like, you know, it's sad to see Ruskaya go. Hopefully, maybe sometime in the future there could be a reuniting. Regardless, I look forward to seeing what all the members do, including you. But yeah, check these guys out. Like they have a lot of awesome music that combine polka with metal with like Celtic punk, I guess you could say. They use horns, a violin, combine it with heavy riffs. It's quite the package. Then another album that was listened to while hanging out with my brother, Sky Blue, so more Devin Townsend. Really rock heavy album, you know, sort of radio-ish. Very straightforward, like hard rock structured songs. And it's done really well, honestly. Rejoice, Silent Militia, a couple of my favorites. A New Rain is easily one of my favorite Devin Townsend songs ever. Absolutely love that song. And he only did it better when he remixed it and put it out as a newer Rain. It's just such a good, solid project front to back. The title track's great. Rain City, Fallout, which is another just big song for them. I absolutely love that track. Just real good stuff. Check it out. Last but not least, we got Fit for an Autopsy. Absolute hope, absolute hell. This album kicks so much ass, dude. This is a huge step up from their first 2 albums in every single way. Just the breakdowns, just the payoffs, like building up to them is just so just rewarding and captivating and just heavy and pummeling. The songwriting is so great. It's just like a whole package. I really hope they do play songs from this album when I see them in a couple weeks. This absolutely rips. I really, really very much enjoyed this album. So yeah, that's it. So my album / EP for the month would happen to be Palms, because I love palms. And I couldn't really think of anything else to pick for February. So there you have it. There's my listens of the month for February. Did you listen to any of these albums / EPs and whatnot? What do you think of them? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Leave a like, subscribe if you haven't. I will see you all in the next one. Thanks for keeping up with this. I really appreciate it. Maybe hit the bell so you don't miss the next video, or don't. It just doesn't matter. As long as you enjoy.